Hi, I have a bit of a story to tell you. Since I started this channel not too long ago, I had the idea of reviewing every game I've ever played. I wanted to get some stuff established first, like getting my VTuber model in order and having some stream layouts and some other stuff, like banners and icons for my profile. But I decided that once I felt like I had the basics ready, I would do that. It sounded perfect to me at the time. It gave me a reason to rapid fire talk about a ton of video games. It would let me flex my ability to edit long videos, and I could even turn that content into shorts to drive up engagement and all that businessy stuff too. It would let me bridge the gap between myself and the viewers. It'd let you get to know me and what I like. After finishing my last video, I even got so far as to reviewing 100 games in just a couple days. I almost lost my voice doing it. I made art, and I had a whole rating system in place, and I even got through some of the editing before. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a game tester. Making games sounded really hard, and as a kid I didn't quite have the self-esteem to be so ambitious. Now, this was definitely the child's version of what that meant. I had no concept of what it entailed, other than playing video games and telling the developers what needed fixing, but it was the first time I can remember really having a dream job. There were others, to be sure, but those were fleeting moments. I even have a funny story about that. My mom was friends with a massage therapist, and for whatever kid brain reason, I thought it sounded really cool. But I didn't know what it was called, so I assumed it would have a similar name to other jobs I've heard about. I went up to my majored in women's studies mom and told her, "Mom, I want to be a misogynist when I grow up."
Me fail English? That's impossible.
I remember laughing super hard about it and telling you what it was actually called, but being very confused about what was so funny. Anyway, I bring up the fact that I wanted to be a game tester because I actually did it back in 2018. And not for a small company either. I tested games for Microsoft from 2018 to 2020. It was great, and until it wasn't. I'm gonna skip the details, but towards the end it was an incredibly isolating experience, and it sucked all the joy I once had for video games. But I learned some valuable lessons. Like that a common hobby isn't enough to make friends with people as an adult. I realized that my personal connection to games wasn't as common as I thought. But maybe most importantly, I realized how important it was for me to keep my job and gaming separate. Apparently I forgot that. I already learned this lesson. While making that video of 100 reviews, I got stunlocked. It was incredibly difficult to continue, and ultimately I decided to take a break for a couple days, think things through. While I wasn't ready to throw anything out, I decided to start writing another video, just to get the juices flowing again. Hi. One subgenre of video games that I love dearly, but doesn't get enough appreciation is board games. It's a rare situation where some other medium is adapted into a video game while maintaining everything about it. Books get adapted into games, usually as point-and-click adventures, and movies get adapted into all sorts of stuff. But unlike all of that, board games are still board games upon being adapted into its new digital form. But how did I do it? It's a much more complicated question than you think on first pass. Surely you just program the board game rules as written and call it a day, right? No, you could, but the way I see it, there's a scale from more accurate to least accurate conversion. Allow me to walk you through the scale and why some games might be made in a particular way. I wrote one more paragraph after that before realizing what was right in front of my face. I don't want to talk about video games, actually. All the emotions I felt at my lowest point as a game tester came back to me all at once. So, sorry if you're interested by that board game thing, or if a video of 100 random reviews sounded compelling to you, but it's not happening. Instead, this will be a place for learning and growing. But it means more than that to me. Statistically, no one will see this. According to my analytics, nobody has watched any of my videos to completion, so I think I want to get a little extra personal. The truth is that this channel represents a hope for a better life. I'm almost 30 years old and have no job and no career. In high school, I comfortably glided through my classes with little effort. I didn't have any reason to think I wouldn't do well in college, but I didn't. I did really bad, in fact. I found that video game testing job soon after I consigned myself to working a shitty dead-end job the rest of my life. For me, it was a chance to dream. But I'm still not going into details, sorry. I'll just say that it wasn't what it was cracked up to be. So I got depressed again. After wallowing in self-pity for a bit and working some of the worst jobs I've ever had, I realized that I needed to dare to dream of a better life. Looking back at what I liked other than video games, I went to college for video production. This was an incredible decision, regardless of how anything turns out for me in the future, but my momentum was killed pretty quickly. I was betrayed pretty brutally by a friend, and I began to spiral. More terrible jobs, horrible writer's block, and imposter syndrome. No progress for years. Until right now, this channel you're looking at here. I was fired for the first time from another job I didn't belong at. With endings come new beginnings. The state gave me not only unemployment benefits, but self-employment assistance as well. I have a chance here to turn my video production skills into something I can be proud of, something I can live off of. I can actually make my dreams a reality, so that's what I'm gonna try to do. Better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all, as they say. But it can't have anything to do with video games. I know it's silly and cliche, but please, if you watch this far into the video, like and subscribe. I have some really good ideas coming. I know you'll like it if you give it a chance.